Hey guys, and welcome to another special edition of the Pagnotta Take on Sports. Today, we are previewing the Tar Heels' upcoming game this week against the South Carolina Gamecocks. They actually play tomorrow night here in Charlotte at 6 o'clock on ESPN. So, first we're going to react to the depth chart that we had just saw from GoHeels.com. That a couple of surprises in there. Of course, no surprise at quarterback or really the offensive line. I don't think we're surprised about. But the other skill positions, we were a little shocked, especially at running back, that Elijah Hood is going to be the starter week 1 over T.J. Logan. And T.J. Logan's not even the solid number 2 guy. They have Tyson Williams as an oar with him. So they may be rotating those guys in there. And wide receiver, Bug Howard actually is going to start over Mac Hollins, which kind of shocked me a little bit. I actually thought Mac should start over him, but you know, they could end up working him in there in the 4 wide receiver set or something. I don't think it matters. We'll definitely see Mac Hollins out there before the end of the night. So what do you think about some of those the shocks, I guess?
Well, the running back thing, you know, there was talk, you know, all during camp that, you know, Hood was going to be the clear one at some times, and then it was kind of like Hood was kind of, or Logan had taken ahead. I think it don't really matter because there's been a lot of talk about the A-back, B-back thing, and maybe that's just maybe the way it's listed.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably right.
You know, when it comes to, maybe they want to use Hood because they want to set the physical presence because he likes to go in there and get you know, low and run people over. But I don't think like the running back thing matters because we are deep and we're going to use at least 3-4 guys.
Oh yeah.
You know, I think it says a lot about how Hood has responded coming off last year to come in and earn the number 1 job on the depth chart.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
So it also would create some competition within the group. So that also could be well. The thing with the wide receivers, like with Matt Collins, was like, or with Bug being the starter, because there were talks that maybe he was going to move to tight end, and then he's the starting wide receiver for us. So that was kind of, you know, weird. But like, I think if we saw us throw out a four wide set, you know, that number 4 would easily be Matt Collins.
Yeah. I mean,
with Switzer, of course, being in the slot.
The thing that does scare me, going back to the running backs for just a second, about Logan's standing on this is that he is battling a true freshman for a basic backup role. Because, to be honest with you, he should be battling Romar if we're talking about A-back, B-back. Because your A-back, I would assume, is supposed to be your speed back, while your B-back is supposed to be your power back. Tyson Williams, if they put both him and Hood out there, it's just all power. Really. But yeah, I like you said, of course, I have no problem with this starting Elijah Hood. I don't dislike him at all. I love the way he runs the ball, but to me it shocked me a little bit because I thought out of all the running backs, Logan was the most consistent last season.
Which isn't saying a lot considering how
we had no one that was
the running game produced last year. Outside of Marquise Williams. But yeah, I mean,
that was what scared me a little bit. And then the wide receiver, I mean, I can see where they're going. My thinking here is that they have to be thinking size advantage. Because he's a little bit taller than Mac Hollins. Because the problem with Bug, really since he's come on campus, he's a talented guy. He's had so many issues with drops. I don't know. Maybe he's corrected this, but I don't. You know, the way that Mac Hollins played last year, I think he deserved a starting job. But you know, I like you said, I think we'll see, you know, some snaps for him, but the problem with putting him at the number 4 wide receiver, he may actually be too big to put in there as a number 4, and we're going to want like Prohl in there to play that slot.
I mean,
maybe Thomas Jackson, players
if you go trips one side or something, and then you just put all 3 of your trees. You know, you just imagine a defense trying to stop that with 3 guys. What, at least 6'4" or taller?
I think they're or
6'2" at least.
Yeah, no, they're all bigger than that. I think they're 6'4". Thing about Mac Hollins is he's different than the other 2 wide receivers in that Bug is, I think he's almost exactly like Quinshad. His possession, but he has enough speed where he could pull away from him. Whereas Mac is he has lightning speed
right.
with huge length. I mean,
yeah.
he uses those legs, those long strides. It really works out for him.
And and the arms, because he can go get balls that most guys can't catch. Overthrown or just up in the air. He can go up and make a play between two defensive backs.
Exactly.
All of the Virginia game last year, he just jumped up, because he's so tall and lengthy. He's not really built like you would think a lot of wide receivers are, but
I mean, I think he has the best vertical ability, which is why you'll probably see him more near the goal line. If we get down near the goal line, we might end up using him down there. And who knows? I mean, I don't know. I don't remember how much he weighs. I don't think it's anywhere close, but we got Singleton at the tight end. Who knows? We could see Matt Collins playing tight end sometime this year. I mean, I don't care. I just want to see him out on the field because I really like him. He's going to be a special guy. And, as you said, a little bit of another shocking area on the depth chart was the tight end position going to Kendrick Singleton. Not because he's not talented enough, but the size that he is.
It's more the height.
I mean that's
or the weight.
The weight, the 215 for a tight end. I mean, I'm not saying that's horrible, but it's not what you're going to see out of an ACC tight end. I mean, you look at Nick O'Leary last year. He had to have weighed at least 240. He was a big guy.
Well, the question is like if he puts his hand on the ground and his responsibility is to go block an SEC linebacker,
exactly,
and he's only 215.
That's where you're running into issues.
South Carolina's got some big dudes, and they're strong and fast. So that's the thing, I think he's going to be more, I guess, a receiving kind of tight end.
Yeah, he's going to be more of a Y than anything. Whereas if they need a blocking tight end, I think they'll go more with Brandon Fritz.
Right.
The guy I think they'll go with is Caleb Samuel, who was brought in as an offensive lineman. So putting him at the tight end, you still got a guy that's big enough and that can block. So, I mean, from what we saw offensively, I think the depth chart it's relatively close to what we thought we would see, and I think we're going to be fine. I mean, looking at it, another thing that I thought that was good was that looking at it, I saw some depth on the offensive line, which was a concern with Will Dancy and Jarrett Cohen.
It was some of the injuries we suffered during camp.
So that was definitely a positive. Defensively, really the thing that I focused on the most was probably the defensive line. Because there were 3 areas on the defensive line where there were not sure starters. That's what was a little bit concerning to me. I know Nazir Jones is the easy defensive tackle at the one position. I'm assuming they would play him in sort of a nose tackle. I think he's going to be the nose.
He's going to be like the 3 technique, I think.
I think so,
Chiswick is.
And the 1 technique is probably going to be between Jeremiah Clark and Tyler Powell.
Right.
Both of which I do like. Clark was a high recruit. He's a great guy. We met him at Meet the Heels. He's a big guy, and from what I've seen, he can play some football. But Tyler Powell played a little bit last year, and I liked what I saw of him. Aggressive guy. The only thing about him that troubled me a little bit was he did take some penalties that were a little bit what would you say? I don't want to say unnecessary. Yeah. And I think he'll be able to cut down on that. I mean, I understand. I love the high energy from him, but he's just got to be careful with that. And then both the defensive end positions, we don't have a clear starter. It's expected that Nonconde and Drennan will probably switch off, as well as on the other side, Mikey Bart and Jesse Rogers, and we could even see Jalen Dalton get in there too, which they were talking very highly about. So, what do you think about the defensive line?
Well, I think with the depth chart being released and there's no clear starters at 3 of the positions, I think it makes it harder really on South Carolina to prepare how to attack us from their offensive standpoint. I think, when we trot our defensive line out there, I think you'll see Nonconde will be a starter.
I think you're right.
I would say more with Jeremiah Clark, and then on the other end, probably Mikey Bart. Because that's been the guys that when you listen to the defensive coaches and even Coach Fedora talk, those have been the guys that are earning their keep and have shown have really proven themselves to the team and everything that they deserve meaningful playing time. Now, all these guys are going to play as a part of the depth and also the way that we want to rotate and play defensively. So that'll be good. I watched the video today, and Chiswick said we'll know more about us come Friday then we'll know.
Yeah.
You know, or really even after the game is tomorrow, we'll have a pretty indication of who should start and who should start after tomorrow night. So it's all going to be result driven.
Yeah, I mean you're right. I mean it's not the worst thing to have.
Yeah.
I think it shows that we have a lot of talent, but
I think it's a great thing to have going into week 1 with so many question marks.
The only thing that I am concerned about is the fact of we're going to be changing these guys too much. I mean, if you gotta leave these guys in if they're playing well, let them play. But yeah, like you said, I would say probably. I think for sure Clark will start. I think he'll be the guy inside because Coach Fedora has really liked what he's done. And I agree with you with Mikey Bart. I think he's played very well, but Jesse Rogers will see playing time. The other defensive end position, I think it's a lot closer than people realize. Like, these two guys are very talented. And, you know, Nankande, he's that converted outside linebacker. So he's kind of got that pass rushing ability that I think kind of fits this system a little better because that's kind of what Chizik is going to look for. If you look at some of his defensive ends in the past, like Corey Lumineer, the year that they won the national championship, that's kind of that converted outside linebacker to defensive end. So I think you'll definitely see him in there a lot. But like I said, I've told you this time and time again, I like Jerlon Drennan, and I think he's going to be a hell of a player.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to find his way onto the field as the night goes along. Linebacker, we had found that out earlier that Joe Jackson had beat out Casey Collins, so not really a shocker there. Maybe the fact that he's starting on the strong side is something that shocked me a little bit. And, of course, Schottmer being the starter at middle, we knew that was going to happen, and Rashad on the other side. So that really, I think most Carolina fans knew going in that those guys would be the starters.
Exactly.
Case and Collins will see some time on there. Now the secondary, I know this shocked me that MJ Stewart is going to be the starter over Brian Walker.
Right.
You know, I like MJ Stewart. I think MJ Stewart's a great football player, but it angered me that they would start him over Brian Walker because I really like Brian Walker. I think Walker knows how to play, how to cover. Now, I haven't been at the practices, so I really don't know. But from what I've seen in the past from him, I just love the way that Walker plays the game. So I think that was something that shocked me, and of course Lawrence is going to start the other one, which doesn't shock me. What do you think about the Stewart and
it's not Walker. Like Walker's not going to play. He will be our guy when we go to our nickel and dime packages and all that. And you know, a lot of things we heard from Chizik say is he's going to play a lot of the guys that he thinks deserve to play in the scheme because the way he's making it sound, we're going to change up our schemes within the game on a constant, maybe every possession, maybe within the same drive, you know, just to really try to confuse the defense, disguise a lot, and you know, especially with South Carolina starting a first time quarterback, you know, the more that we throw at him and overwhelm him, the better it should help our defense. You know, Stewart, you know, I don't think it's a surprise that he's going to start because people thought last year he was going to start from week 1.
Yeah.
You know, it is, you know, because Walker is a junior. You know, or Stewart's only a sophomore.
Yeah, true sophomore.
So, you know, Lawrence on the other side, we all expected that because he's rumored to have the best camp so far out of all the corners.
Which is good. He had been the guy that was actually going to battle MJ Stewart, and that ended up turning into Walker. But I mean, I understand he's going to be in there in the nickel package, and that's one thing about Gene Chizik that I like. That's much different from he who shall remain not named because he is basically a sin in this part of the Carolinas. I mean, he didn't adjust.
Yeah.
He said, we're just going to play the same defense the entire game. Gene Chizik's going to adjust as we go along.
Right.
So, I mean, from what I've seen from Walker, I really liked him on the outside.
Yeah.
It's just something that hurts because I love the way he plays football. But, you know, I just want to see him out there. And it's nothing against MJ Stewart. I think you're going to have a great year.
I mean, I think bottom line, if it takes MJ Stewart to start us to win football games, I don't care who's
in there as long as we're winning games. You're right about that. Safety position, guys, I think we knew we're going to start Smiley and Miles. Really hoping Dominic Green can get back on the field, though, because I like the way he plays. I don't know what's been going on with him, if he's had those injury problems or what. But I'd like to see him out there as well. And then in the special teams, not really anything shocking. You know, one thing that I think is kind of good that you could look at from the offensive side, with Logan not starting now, or not being the primary guy, he's going to be able to focus on kick returns more. So he'll be fresh when he goes out there to return some of these kicks. So hopefully that's a positive. And they had 4 deep on these kick returns, so that means they could be rotating any of these guys in there. And of course, Switzer is the starter at punt returner, which is good to see that he'll be back there again this year. So we previewed our team. I guess now we got to start previewing their team just a little bit. When you look at this team last year, they went 7-6, 3-5 in the SEC. I mean, I know it's the SEC, but they did play in the SEC East. I mean, there's some troubling losses from last year. I mean, Tennessee, they lost.
Just a lot of games that they blew. They blew the Missouri game, they blew the Kentucky game, they blew the Tennessee game.
Yeah, and these are all games that they probably should have.
And 2 of the 3 were at home.
Yeah, I mean, they lost to Mizzou at home.
But they did show, they won a game at Florida they should have not have won because they were trailing, and then they came back.
Yeah, that's true.
They did beat a very good Georgia team.
They beat Miami in the bowl game, which was a decent team at the time. So, I mean, the storyline for them, of course, over the offseason, the main storyline from what we've been reading was the quarterback battle.
Yeah, the quarterback and fixing the defense that was very maligned.
That was what I was going to mention next. Yeah, but they brought in Lorenzo Ward, who they are extremely excited about. They think that he's going to be...
Well, no, it's John Hoke. No, they retained Ward. They brought in John Hoke.
Okay.
He's from the Florida days.
Oh, okay. Yes, that's right. Now I remember. That's right. Yeah. They brought him in, and they're freaking out about this guy coming in. So they think he's going to be great. But yeah, with the quarterback battle... it's official now that Mitch has beat him out.
Right.
Now, from what I'm hearing, that he may have beaten him out, but they don't even think that they don't think it's going to last. They think that he's going to go in there. They're going to run multiple quarterbacks.
Yep. I totally expect to see who's the other one. Perry Orth is supposed to be number 2, or
the
Newton.
walk-on. Scarnecchia could see time as well. Lorenzo Nunez, a true freshman. They're saying that he might be the most talented quarterback to ever play at South Carolina, and he's a true freshman. I don't know what you read into that. I mean, he's not the starter, so clearly he can't be that great. But, yeah, I mean, I didn't think they'd have a starting quarterback as soon as they did, which is pretty late in the going. But they did pick Mitch, so I'll give them that. And, I mean, we know Connor Mitch is talented. We recruited him at Carolina. We ended up losing them to him. But, I mean, I think, I think he'll play well. I don't know. We don't really have a whole lot on him, so we don't really know what to go off. So that's definitely something that can help. And against our defense, you can have a trial period, especially if it's anything like last year. But, I think he'll be talented. Running game, I have no idea who their starting running back's going to be. There's a couple of guys that can end up starting.
They'll probably go with Wilds because he's, a senior for, the 6th year in a row or something like that?
He's got to be a 6th-year senior. He's been there for a long time. Him, and they're saying David Williams is going to share.
Yep, and then they also got Sean Carson.
That's right, yeah. He's still there, too, as well.
Yep, and I know when he was recruited, I believe he was a 4 or, at least a 4-star recruit coming out.
Yeah, not a guy that I guess didn't have a whole lot of playing time behind guys like Lattimore and then Davis. They had Davis. But now there's not really a surefire guy. Now, we didn't have a surefire guy when Davis battled Wilds for the starting job. They didn't know how good he was going to be, so you can't really go off of that. But, I think, like you said, I think Wilds will start due to the experience, but we'll see Williams as well. Wide receiver, of course, the person that every South Carolina fan is going to turn towards is Pharaoh Cooper. They're going to say that he's
a stud.
He's the star. There's a lot of people that think he's the best wide receiver in the nation. I don't think he's in the top 10. He's nowhere close to the best wide receiver.
There was a game last year where he caught a touchdown, ran a touchdown, and threw a touchdown. And they lost the football game. Yeah. Of course, that was Tennessee. The thing is, it's Pharaoh Cooper, and then a bunch of role players. They don't have a number 2 or a number 3 who. And they lost 2 of their guys. Shaq Davidson, who was a talented wide receiver from last year that they recruited, he's out for the year, as well as Gerard Washington. He had a major knee injury. Something he got injured pretty badly, but I did read that he had successful knee surgery, so that's a good thing. Hopefully he'll be able to get back on the field. But,
an area where they don't really have anyone proven, and it doesn't look like they have a whole lot of depth.
Yeah.
That could be an issue. But then again, when we saw when we played them last time, we were talking about it today. I think it was, like you said, Nick Jones that caught the touchdown. Most people, unless you're a South Carolina fan, you probably had no idea who that guy was. So you never know who's going to end up stepping up. On the offensive line, a lot of these guys were highly recruited but haven't really worked out.
Yeah. It was funny because last year that was supposed to be the strength of their offense. And it was one of the weaker points of the offense.
Yeah.
Because they had guys like A.J. Cann and all those others who were, could have been first-team All-Americans. And
they struggled, yeah.
The offensive line wasn't good. I expect them to be better. I don't know about their depth or how many starters they're returning, but
they returned 3.
Yeah. So
Shell's the most talented guy. But yeah, but when you look at it, a lot of these guys, they've got some experience back there, but you got their left guard is considered as their backup left tackle.
Yeah.
So that's when you have some depth problems. And then I saw as well that one of their backup guards, Cody Waldrop, I don't know, I think he was battling the starter from last year, William Sport. He's actually had some injury problems.
Yeah.
So, that definitely doesn't help. And remember, DJ Park was a highly recruited guy. He's pretty much a bust right now. He's sitting there as a backup. So,
right.
Like you said, that was a weaker point. I don't think it's going to be much stronger again this year from looking at what they've got. Defensive side of the ball, as you said, they brought in Hoke over from the Florida days. Spurrier was extremely excited about that. They only returned 6 starters, and 2 of the guys that were starters last year aren't even expected to start again this year.
I know they overhauled their defensive line with, I think, 5 JUCOs.
Yeah, they've got a lot of young guys. They're 5 JUCOs, but that's an area on their team where they actually are very loaded. They've got a lot of guys. That's where 2 of their returners are at. They may not even start. So that could be only 2 of the guys that are expected to start. You got Gerald Dixon and Gerald Dixon Jr. They're the only returning starters. One guy they're extremely high on is Marquavius Lewis. I believe he played pretty well towards the end of the year. I didn't really follow them a whole lot. So, but yeah, when you look, their leading sack guys, they have 2 of them that had 2 sacks last year. That's probably not a good sign.
They got to upgrade the pass rush.
Yeah, they definitely do. And then when you look at the linebacker, of course, they returned their middle linebacker, Sky Moore, who had a great year last year. He's going to be another a stud again this year. One of their outside linebackers, Jonathan Walton, he's been dealing with some injury problems in camp as well. So they're dealing with some injuries as well. We've kind of got a little bit lucky, so far at least, with not having to deal with so many injuries, but still. And then the cornerback position, they have 2 starters that return, but they're only expected to start one of them. In Chris Lamons. T.J. Gurley, he actually had a good year last year, but he's expected to get beat out by Rico McWilliams. And then here, this is an area, again, where they had a returning starter at safety. He's expected to get beat out by, I believe, a JUCO transfer in Isaiah Thomas. He's expected to come in there and start right away. Yeah, he's a graduate transfer. So there's apparently talent on this back end. And against us, I guess that's going to be a good thing to have. But
I think they're going to a more stable 4-3 because last year, they trot out 3 different defenses, 3 different games.
Oh yeah, it was pretty nuts.
So I think they're going to become more stable. I think they're going to run a 4-3.
Yeah.
They brought in the 5 JUCOs to add some depth and hopefully to upgrade a pass rush. They've got a stud at linebacker. Sky Moore is one of the better linebackers in the SEC.
Yes. And that's saying a lot.
Yeah. And then the back end, there's talent, but I think the addition of John Hoke, a guy that Spurrier trusts, will help. But it's not that they demoted Lorenzo Ward; he's still a defensive
coordinator.
Yeah. So, I expect them to be vastly improved. I don't know when the results will show, but as good as their offense was last year, that team should have won 10 games with the points that they put up and the yards they put up. It was a much prolific offense.
They were
in that program's history, and they go 7-6.
Yeah, they're rushing. I mean, you can't have a rushing defense ranked 105th, especially in the SEC.
Yeah, exactly.
And that one guy I did mention, Lewis, that's actually one of the junior college transfers.
Right.
I believe. I thought he was playing there. So, yeah, there's a lot of those guys that are just going to be put right in there.
Yeah.
And they'll have to see. So, breaking down kind of the matchups here, when you look at our offense against their defense.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, like you said, having Hope there is definitely going to help spur with the confidence to stop our offense. But we're considered one of the most prolific offenses in the country, mostly because of our depth all over the offense. I think we're going to be able to pass the ball on them. If they can't get a pass rush on us, Keese will just stand there and throw the ball.
Yeah.
And throw the ball.
Well, you know, the matchup really starts up front, as does in every football game.
Yeah.
Can our offense, our offensive line, control the line of scrimmage from the first play? And, you know, I think if they can sit there and we can bully them and push them around, give Keese the time to throw and open up the holes for our backs to run through, we're going to put up numbers because our offense is that good. You know, and another thing, you know, as much as we struggled with tackling last year, so did their defense. And so I think with our ability to get people in space, you know, I expect them to be improved tackling-wise.
Yeah,
but
just like us. Yes, yes.
So, you know, I think when you look at the matchup offense versus their defense, you know, I think you look at we have 10 returning starters on offense.
Yes.
So I think that gives us an upper hand.
Definitely.
But, you know, we got to be able to control the line of scrimmage from the first play, and make plays. You know, go up and fight for the ball and catch the ball and run hard. So.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, Kirk Herbstreit says it begins in the trenches.
Mm-hmm.
I think we got enough depth up front, and as you said, they didn't have a pass rush last year.
Right.
So I think that definitely helps us out a little bit. But, yeah, from what I've seen on the offensive line, especially the interior offensive line, I don't think they're going to have a chance against us because you got Crowley, you got Peterson, and you got Turner, all of whom are considered NFL prospects.
Right.
And, I mean, now, yeah, on the outside, there is a little bit of concern there. But, see, the only difference is people will say, well, the last time we played you guys, they didn't really get pressure on our quarterback from the outside, but people believe that they did because they think Clowney all went nuts in every game.
Yeah.
Problem is, if he had played against Keese, it would have been a different story because Keese can take off and run.
Yeah.
Renner was not a mobile quarterback. So if they do end up getting pressure, there's at least a chance that Keese would be able to get out of there, but I think we'll be good enough on the offensive line.
Yeah.
The guys we're starting at tackle in Spain and who starts at the other one?
Was it Heck?
Yes, that's right, John Heck. Yeah, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like you said, I think getting players out in space. I mean, we've got some of the faster guys. I mean, we've seen what Switzer can do out in space with those short screen plays and everything like that. You know, work maybe Romar into some of those formations to get his speed out there. You know, I mean, I don't know if they're going to play a primarily zone or a primarily man defense, so I think that's something that Keese is going to have to read early on, and the coaching staff will read early on and say, okay, if they're playing the short routes with man defense, then we got to start going long. But if they're playing zone to try to keep it deep, we could start going to those dump down passes. I mean, for most teams it won't work, but with our speed, I think it definitely will. And I think the running game will definitely be more consistent than we were last year. So I think we'll be able to run the ball no problem. Now, here's the interesting part for Carolina fans is our defense against their offense.
It's a big question mark. I mean, it's really...
That's going to be very interesting.
It's really, I read an article or saw an article that they refer to Chiswick as a mystery man, and that's really what it is because we don't know what's going to be put out there tomorrow night. Their offensive line is in flux, as is our defensive line.
True.
So, I think that will kind of negate itself. I mean, I think the thing with South Carolina is we got to take away the run early because with them starting a first, a junior quarterback who's never played a snap, they're gonna want to establish the running game early. Now, that may include him because he is mobile. But if we can take away the running game and make him more of have to step out there and throw the ball 45 times.
Exactly.
I'm going to take my chances with Gene Chiswick, the talent that we have, and the expected improved that the defense will show tomorrow night. So
Up on the defensive line, like you said, trying to keep him from being extremely mobile. That will most likely fall on the shoulders of Nonconde, being a former outside linebacker. They're going to expect him to play that sort of role. But I was listening to College Football Daily. They had the roundtable yesterday, the experts, and they were talking about our game because it was the first game of the year. And Tom Luganville said something that I actually thought was very interesting. He said that when they used to play, when Chizik was at Auburn, especially at Auburn, he used to give Spurrier issues when they played him. I believe he let up 19 points a game to Spurrier, which was pretty good playing against him. And if we can let up 19 points to them tomorrow night, I think we're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Our offense is good enough. But, yes, up front, I know they're probably going to put their more experienced returners on returning starters on Nazir Jones. But my thing is, who do they put on Nonconde?
Right.
Or whoever is left with an unexperienced guy has to be able to get pressure on the quarterback. That was something that last year, for the first time in a very long time, we were just unable to do. We could not get pressure on the quarterback, and it hurt us so badly in so many of these games, especially ECU, because you couldn't get any pressure on him. He just stood back there and threw the ball around the yard the entire game. So we can't let that happen because Mitch has the arm talent. The linebackers, tackle, and did I mention tackle?
Yeah,
That's pretty much what we got to do.
It's also got to be because South Carolina will put our players, our defenders in space. And so, last year we had a very tough time in one-on-one situations, and a lot of it was fundamentally breaking down and making a tackle. We got to do the basics tomorrow night. And I think, if we do it in the secondary from a basics, tackling wise, also, we got to be able to stop the run with our linebackers. I think a lot of things you're going to see from us this year as a defensive unit is we're going to try to gang tackle. We don't want one guy making a tackle.
Exactly.
We want 4 or 5 guys in there punching them to the ground and letting them know it's commit this for 60 minutes, and I said you need to be prepared. We got a great linebacker coach.
Yes.
So
very good.
I think they're going to be prepared, and I think they're going to be put in positions to make the plays we got to make to win the football game.
Yeah. So, they're the unit that I think is
probably the most stable.
Questioned. And most stable, but is questioned maybe the most in this game, like you said, because they want to get us in space. Now, and I guess sort of an issue would be that our best coverage linebacker is a middle linebacker.
Right.
So it's very rare he's going to be on one-on-one situations unless we go cover 0 for some reason, which I really don't see us doing a whole lot of. But, it's going to fall on them stopping the run. Look, Schottmer can do all he can to try to make a tackle on the inside, but Rashad's got to be able there to help him. You got to have Jackson. You got to have Smiley from the secondary. They've got to be aggressive. When you see it's a run, you got to go after them and don't sit there and try to lunge at these guys. You got to make sure you're tackling. Don't tackle high either. That was another problem we saw last year. People trying to, go high and maybe get the ball out, or I don't know what they were doing. It's just go for the legs.
Right.
Make sure you get them down. That's the key. And it also starts, especially stopping the run, will be with the up front push, which is why Jones is key.
They got to fill the gaps.
Exactly. Jones and Clark. That's what I like about Clark. Clark's a big guy, so hopefully he'll be able to fill that inside. And my thing is, if I'm Gene Chizik, I'm definitely telling them, make him run outside, push him to the outside, give our corners our chance to come up and make the tackle, give our linebackers a chance to get out there and bring him down. And as it'll fall on Rashad and Jackson, and Jackson's the one I'm a little worried about over everyone. But I think he'll be fine. I think he'll show us. And then in the secondary, another disaster area last year.
Yeah.
The main thing that we got to focus on is, of course, stopping Pharaoh Cooper, but I don't think we can put too much focus on him. I don't think we can go in saying, okay, we're going to double and triple team this guy and leave everyone else, to do their own thing. They've got, like you said, there's not a whole lot of talent, proven talent at wide receiver, but there is some talent there, and then you can't forget about the tight end, Jarrell Adams. He's pretty good, so keep an eye on him. because he's that hybrid type. He can block or he can go out on some of these patterns. But yeah, I think stopping Cooper will be the main focus. I don't know if we're going to stick with one guy on him or if we're going to try to switch off.
Right.
But whichever safety, especially last line of defense, is going to be the free safety, Sam Smiley. Yeah. He has got to make sure if he goes deep, you go with him. You make sure that you're down there to make a play on him. And I mean, honestly, if he does burn you, take him out. You got to pass interfere. Make sure he does not beat you for a touchdown. That's the main focus for tomorrow night. But what do you think about our secondary? What do we got to do to try to slow them down?
Well, they got to be fundamentally sound. They got to be in the right alignment.
Yeah. There were times last year we just looked confused.
If we're in man, the big thing is you got to get inside the man.
Yes.
You can't play defense outside. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Push him inside, make him go.
So, I think you're going to see a lot of mixture of some man and some zone. I think we're going to give South Carolina some stuff in a way to try to take away some other things.
Yeah.
Pharaoh Cooper is going to get his numbers. There's no other way around it. I don't expect us to go in there and shut him down.
Yeah, we don't have a corner that's a proven shutdown corner, so no.
But I mean, the basics is, making plays in space, tackling, communicating.
Yes, that's
there's got to be improved communication. Not risking balls. If you can't make the interception,
go for the tackle. Don't try to make the superstar grab.
So
exactly.
Play fundamentally sound football. I mean, that's gonna be the key for us this whole entire year. So, and I think if we can do that, we got a good chance.
Yeah, I think we definitely do. And I think when we look at the secondary, it's got to be more reaction than guessing, because last year there was a lot of that trying to predict what people were going to do. I've always been told when I played football or attempted to play football and failed miserably, you react. You do not guess. You never guess. You always just react to what's going on. And that's what they got to do tomorrow night. Like I said, do not focus too much on Cooper. I know he's a great receiver, but do not be intimidated by him and say we got to make sure we cover this guy. You give your corners a chance. You give your one safety a chance. I mean, if it gets that bad, I guess you have to shade over there. But I think just from looking at it, I think like you said, we got to be fundamentally sound. We got to be in position, because there were times last year where we just looked like we were confused in the secondary. People were out of position. Guys were running around all over the place. So, but looking at it, I think we definitely stand a good chance. And I mean, special teams will factor in. I don't really know how to really break that down, and we're not going to take a prediction of what's really going to happen.
I mean, it's just going to be, hopefully our punting game, when we have to punt, can change field position, and hopefully our return game, if there's a return there for Switzer, he takes it, or Logan. The big thing is, no turnovers and no stupid penalties in the kicking and returning game. So
upfield running. Do not try to make the superstar play and go to the sideline. Go upfield. And the field goal kicking, we need to, if we have a chance to get points, we have to capitalize. We cannot have to sit there and on a 4th down and 8 from like the 20-something yard line, we gotta try to pass to try to keep a drive alive. We got to be able to nail some of these field goals. So overall, when I look at it from my perspective, I think our offense will be able to do what we want to do for most of the game. There are going to be some plays that we're going to make some mistakes on. We'll probably throw an interception. I think that'll happen. Yeah. Just from the way that Keys plays, I can see that happening. There will be turnovers for both sides. But, I think our offense will be able to mostly do what we want against them. I think our defense is going to be improved from last year, but there will be some struggling points, especially in this game. And so, when I look at it, I think the final score will be, I think we'll win. I've been telling you this since we started talking about this game a couple of months ago. I think we'll ultimately end up winning it. I got us win 35-27. I think it's going to be a close game throughout, but we'll pull away late because I think we're the more talented team, and I think we've got the more experience, and that'll end up paying off in the long run.
I think the reason why I'm taking us is we have the more experienced guy at the position that matters the most, and that's quarterback.
Yes, exactly.
There's going to be some ebbs and flows. I mean, I think we're going to put up some numbers, and they're going to put up some numbers.
Yeah, clear. Oh, yes, definitely.
But I think, with the experience we have returning and everything, I think we win the game 34-24. And I think it's going to be kind of, we're not going to blow them out early and they come back.
No.
I think it's going to be a really good college football game. But I think in the end, we have the better quarterback. And I think we'll win the football game and we'll get the season rolling, which I think is going to be pretty special. So
yeah, I mean, if we can go undefeated at a conference, which if we win, that's the thing about this game, which is why it's so crucial. And many people are asking, well, why is this like one of the most important games of the year? It actually probably is the most important game of the year because if we win that...
Yeah, because the last time we had a marquee game to start, we lost South Carolina 1-5 start.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a new thing that we're pretty much going to be doing every year. We're going to play marquee teams right out of the gate because we got them this year. We got Georgia. Next year we got Cal coming to our place in 2017. So we can't have these slow starts like we've been having. I mean, we can't go 2-2 at a conference and walk in there saying, oh, we're going to come in here and be world beaters in the ACC. That just doesn't happen. So, yeah, like you said, I think it'll be a close game throughout. We know there's going to be mistakes. You got to know that coming in.
It's the
first
opener.
game of the year. Everyone's going to make mistakes. It's going to probably be our worst game of the year watching it because, everyone's still trying to adjust to this. It's a new system for really both teams have new systems, new players in place. So
defensively,
defensively, I mean, offensively, they got some new players. We're more experienced, but there's still going to be some question marks. So I think, as you said, great game, and I think it'll be a great way to start off the season.
Yeah.
I think we'll be able to win coming out of the gate. So I think that's it for this one. So we got our predictions in. We both think that we're going to take the opener and think it's going to be a good game. So thank you guys for watching. And if you guys like this, you can go watch our other videos. We have the Tar Heel preview for this year. We have the offense and the defense. The offense already over 100 views, so that's pretty great so far. And we hope we can get that number up as the season goes along. But we'll be doing these every week. So hopefully we're going to be coming on next time happy, for sure. So I think we will, and I think we're going to learn a lot in this first game for you guys. So thank you guys for watching. If you want to follow me on Twitter, follow me at Future Tar Heel, or on Instagram at Anthony_Pagnotta96. And for him, follow him at Future UNC Grad on Twitter or at JoshMarlowe5 on Instagram. Thank you guys very much, and keep watching this channel because we're going to be doing this throughout the season.